Awesome, and we are live. Oh my goodness, now we'll wait for a few people to hop on with us. I have so much fun with this. I do.
I can tell.
You'll have to start watching I know you're a busy man, so you may not be able to watch all my episodes, but I do a lot. I'm excited. I'm doing a video with the Art Association next week. That's going to be a fun one. So, all right, so starting to notify people. Good morning, it's Friday. Whew. Thank goodness it's Friday. TGIF. Oh my goodness. So today, guys, I'm so excited. I have two fantastic guests that are just amazing for being here with me this morning. I feel very honored. I'm very excited to have you guys on because when I started the Go-To Girl, I'm going to tell people real quick. When I started the Go-To Girl, one of the reasons I started it was to do things in the community and help the community. So if you're not already following my page, be sure to hit like and follow, guys, because I love to highlight different things in the community, whether it's events coming up, local artists, musicians, all of that great stuff, even the serious topics that nobody really wants to talk about. And a lot of times when people go on the news, no offense to the news because I watch it all the time, they don't get a lot of in-depth time, and sometimes it gets edited and they don't really get to talk about what they need to really get out there. Sometimes that gets missed. So I see y'all hopping on. Now, do me a favor before I let these guys introduce themselves this morning. I need you guys to do me a favor, tag and share, because this is, I really, really believe this is a topic, and I think a lot of you believe that this is a topic that we need to touch base on. So I'm going to explain who these folks are real quick. So I've got Dr. Talbert and I've got Allison Christie on with me. I've known Allison for a long time.
Good morning.
And her job is to help people, which is great. So I do want to start this video by saying this video is not sponsored. This is her job to do this. And we're going to talk about how I met her and how we came across this topic. But this video is just to help the community, so please, 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 if you care about the community, share it. If you don't care, we'll hop on off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure you
And
care.
please,
Yes.
let your kids watch.
Yes, please
All
get
of
your
them.
kids involved. We're going to talk a little bit about the recent rise of drugs. So Allison and I were talking last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was last year she reached out to me and she was like, Charlie, I work for a clinic. I'm the director, correct? And she was like, we help people with drug addiction, and, you know, we're seeing like a crazy rise. And I mean, this was, kid you not, this conversation was a really heartful conversation about, can you help us get this out there? And we kind of talked about all the rules and stuff and, you know, advertising, because it's a different type of thing. It's a different type of thing. And so anyways, she was already telling me, she was like, I'm seeing so many kids. Right? You were starting to see kids, at which you guys work with adults.
Yeah, we work with adults at the clinic. We don't do minors, but I started this just like as a mom concerned. Kids in the high schools were selling fentanyl. So I went to Hershey, I went to Ryder, I went to Old High. I tried to talk to every assistant principal, every principal, to let them know what was going on, because there were kids in their school selling it. And I mean, I had people tell me names of kids, and I won't lie, I name dropped it. I was like, you need to look into this. Like, this is killing, like, it's killing adults, and now it's reaching our kids. I'm coming to you as a mom that's concerned, because this is in my son's school. So that's way too close to home. You know, people take stuff way more seriously when it starts affecting our kids. Because fentanyl's been around for a while, it's just gotten worse. Like, it's hitting home when it affects your kid, when you have to hold on to your friend's hand because her daughter has overdosed and went to the hospital, or you lose a friend because they've overdosed on fentanyl. But
well, she has so much passion, you guys. So much passion. Do me a favor, hit the heart, show some love for this young lady, because she's so passionate. I did lose a friend to fentanyl last year, so it sucks. And I think that's why I started reaching out to you, because I was like, this is just horrible. I wanted to get programs put in school so we could discuss it, because kids are not trying to read a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to do anything like that. Like, they're visual and audio, like, you need to talk to them about it. So I wanted to get programs put in place for the schools, which is something that I'm trying to work on.
I actually have to reach out still to the lady at the CE building because she's the one who does the programs for all the schools together, because I think that's something that they need to address in the school. Middle schools included, not just high school, but middle schools.
Oh, yeah.
We've had, really most recently in the last 2 weeks, we've had a 21-year-old die, a 17-year-old die, and a 13-year-old die. And that is too young, like too young. And then outside of Wichita, I think the youngest I've read was an 11-year-old little girl died. Like, that's crazy.
That is absolutely crazy. So first of all, guys, she's so passionate about this, so I need y'all to get this out there, because I want the school systems to see this and see that there's somebody that wants to get them information. There's, you obviously work with adults, but the kids grow into adults.
Yes. and
and
they turn into addicted adults. And right now, I mean, we all have a concern, you get addicted to opiates. Fentanyl has it's 80% more addictive than like morphine and heroin.
What about the strength of it? Which we're going to ask you some questions here shortly about, what people can do to get off of this. And, oh my gosh, this is just a crazy topic that we're having this conversation in Wichita Falls. I know, like you said, even junior high. My son is going to be 15 in January. And the times are different. Kids are different. The things that they talk about are different. The things that they do are different. The people they're around, and it's just a different world in general. And social media is different. You see all these things even on TikTok. The other day, somebody was cooking chicken in NyQuil. It's crazy. Have you heard about that yet?
What?
They have started boiling chicken, and it's a challenge to cook chicken in NyQuil. NyQuil and the different companies have came out and said, look, don't do this because it makes it even more concentrated. It makes it stronger. You can actually kill yourself. Do not cook your chicken. So if you're watching this at home, because a lot of us watch TikTok. Our generation, we watch TikTok. We watch all this stuff because it's internet, just to see how silly people are sometimes. You want to, as an adult, you want to watch it to see what in the world are people thinking or what are they doing. Because obviously I don't want any NyQuil in my chicken. But, they're seeing this. So now you've seen a dramatic, has this been over the last year that it's skyrocketed, or
So I've been researching the numbers more lately, so I have a more accurate count. So I'm just when you hear numbers, you're gonna be like, oh wow. So from 2020, more adults between 18 and 45 died of fentanyl overdoses in 2020 than any other leading cause of death, including COVID, motor vehicle accidents, cancer, and suicide. Fentanyl also killed more Americans in general in 2020 than car accidents, gun violence, breast cancer, and this is according to an analysis of the CDC data. 2021, fentanyl deaths doubled from 32,000 fatalities to over 64,000 fatalities in 2 years, and that's from April 2019 to April 2021. And then it said that and it's not completed a full year, but from April of 21 to however they're going it this year, it's increased by 28% the use and the overdose of fentanyl from the previous years. So if those numbers tell you anything, it's telling you it's on a rise. And fentanyl it's not just worried about becoming addicted to fentanyl, because normally we worry about people becoming addicted to opiates. But like as a mom, I'm worried about the first time somebody were to try it, or my son were to try it, he's going to die. Not even addicted. Like, it's killing people. The first time they try it, they're overdosing, they're dying. Which is more of a cause of concern.
Yeah.
Addiction's always a concern, but trying it your first time and not making it through, like, that's even a bigger
because
concern.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
It's so strong. So I'm going to ask you some questions about this. So what does fentanyl do to people? Like by the way, I've got Dr. Talbert on here. He's a first time guest and I'm so glad to have you. But the drugs that people are getting a hold of, can you tell me a little bit about fentanyl?
Well, fentanyl is a opioid. It's in the same class as the ones we're most familiar with heroin, morphine, hydrocodone, Percocets, that sort of thing. What's unique about it, it is a synthetic opioid that is designed to be a potent acting opioid that locks on in a very competitive way with the receptors in our brain to stimulate them. And from that, those who have a use disorder, opioid use disorder, they get a sense of euphoria or enhanced well-being, and it gets magnified with the potency of fentanyl.
Wow. So I'm sure it's extremely addictive, highly addictive. Now, the strength of fentanyl is, of course, supposed to be used in hospitals and with doctor prescription, correct?
Yeah, it's a common used in the hospital setting because of its potency and its effectiveness as its affinity to the receptors in the brain.
Now I've heard that it's so strong. It's literally 50 times stronger than heroin, which heroin's crazy. So, but the problem is too is it's so just touching this stuff can kill people. Is that correct?
Well, it's potent, and you don't ever know how much whatever powder you come across has in it. That's one of the big, to me, one of the scary parts of it is you don't know how much it has because they cut it with inert things to sell it, but you never know how much that is. So, yes, smallest amount can lead to failing to stop breathing, and that's the mechanism of how you die.
Guys, this is absolutely crazy. We've got a lot of guests on with us this morning, and I want to make sure this video gets out there. If you have questions, I'm going to steal your phone here pretty soon and read those.
You're good. I have something for
Yes.
So all the statistics I just read a minute ago, those were for adults from the ages of 18 to 45. This is the one where it hits you home more because this is the one for adolescents. Fentanyl involved fatalities increased from 253 in 2019 to 680 in 2020. And then this past year, it rose to 884 deaths in 2021 for adolescents. That was identified as a 77.14 increase of adolescent overdose deaths.
And that's not even including this year. That's not even included, and we've had 3 right here in our community. And so we know one reason too, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, but seeing this, we know it's in our community. We know that it's here because people are dying from this drug. And so, one thing is if your kids, Halloween is coming up. I've seen posts, by different people that are posting it looks like candy, a lot of the drugs. So let's talk about that.
So like the biggest suppliers of fentanyl, illicit fentanyl, is China and Mexico. So it comes here after they make it. It looks like big sticks of chalk. They break it down and it looks like small Skittles.
This is crazy.
So you don't know what you're getting. Like even my son, I talk with him all the time, and we spoke on the phone yesterday, and I'm like, look, if you didn't buy that bag of Skittles and you didn't open up that bag of Skittles, you better not put that Skittle in your mouth because your kids don't know what they're getting. You don't know what you're getting. If you didn't get it from a doctor, you didn't buy yourself, you don't know what it is. So be really aware of your kids' surroundings. And I'm going to say right now, you can think that your kid will make all the good choices in the world, and we pray to God we do, because we pray we raised them right, and we pray that they'll make good choices. But at the end of the day, you don't know what your kid will do, and that's 100%
Or even if they're
fact.
peer pressured,
Peer pressure is horrible. Or the I love you, try this with me, let's do our first together. Like
all of
it
that
happens.
All
it
of
happens.
that.
So speak to your children, speak to your kids, speak to your young adults, even your older adults, your friends. Like speak to them, talk to them, spread the information.
And I think another thing, obviously they may not listen to this video because, we're adults and they're like, oh, this is boring, whatever. But guys, you ever remember watching those old driver's ed videos where they scared you to death? I literally remember pulling up pictures with my kids like, this can happen to you. And they used to do that a lot on TV. This is your brain on this, and this is your brain on that. I don't know what happened to those, but I loved those because I was like, I would see that, and I was like, it was kind of like the whole thing when you're a kid that if you do that, you're going downstairs. And I was like, I don't want to go downstairs. I don't want to go downstairs. Kids were more scared. Now you tell them something, they're like, oh, whatever. But I think it would be great to show them, like, sit down and be like, in fact, the little boy that passed away just looked like such a baby.
They are babies.
I mean, to see his face, I was like, oh my gosh, like, he just looks like a little baby. I mean, and it's crazy because I actually have the mother of one of the daughters the girls that passed away. She's going to be on the show next week with me. That's going to be a hard episode, but these episodes are important. These episodes are really important because it can happen to your kid. It's happening in our community as we speak. I won't say who I ran into this morning, but I was at Frank and Joe's getting my coffee, and I was talking about having you guys on the show, that I was getting my coffee. I was in a hurry. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having a doctor on the show this morning. I love it. I'm excited. And he was like, you know what? My niece died recently. There was a young man that went to jail, which I know his grandmother, which is crazy. I know his grandmother. He went to jail, tried as an adult for, I believe it was murder, because he was selling fentanyl to this young lady, and she passed away. So, you know, before these three, I had already heard about this young man. It was recently on the news, and it's absolutely crazy how we all kind of know each other. Like, we know, I mean, this is still that small of a town where it's like, hey, I know this person. And the person I ran into this morning, I mean, he was like, that was my niece. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I just never even thought that, you know, you tend to think that there's a stereotype, but people that do drugs can look like anybody. They can come from any financial standpoint. Drugs is just, it's out there. So now so there's you work at the clinic.
I'm the director at the clinic.
Okay.
And he's our medical director.
And you're the medical director. So what is the name of this clinic? I want to get this out there so people can send their family members. It's
Texas Treatment Services in Wichita Falls.
I'm going to have you type that into the comments too.
I also have more.
Oh,
places.
no, go for it. Go for it.
So,
yeah.
Okay. If there's different options for treatment, as Dr. Talbert can tell you, there's medicated assisted treatment, which is what TTS does. There's inpatient facilities. We're an outpatient. And there's also, which I have, thank God, found recently, facilities that will help adolescents, because those are very rare that they're out there.
Are they in our area? Like,
they're within 2 hours, 3 hours at the most.
Okay.
So, I mean, and that's really the closest. It's people are really, I don't know what word you would use to describe to treat adolescents when it comes to addiction, Dr. Talbert.
Well, it's hard to know how to treat them. It's a very difficult period of our lives. And so it takes from my perspective, it takes a lot of integrated care to reach them. It's not a pure addiction situation.
And another thing, well, you know, psychologically, you probably have to reach them and get them to want to get off of it. And then I noticed that you guys use other methods to help them with withdrawal symptoms and the pain, because people go through pain when is that correct? Or
well, and one of the things that is just about universal of those who have the addiction with opioids is they don't in any way ever want to go through withdrawals. You know, I can tell them that they will not die from withdrawals from opioids, but there must be a sense or a sensation that's worse than death. So they do everything they can to avoid withdrawals, and that adds to their addiction because they don't want to experience that. So there are ways with the medication-assisted treatment to allow them to come off of their illicit drugs and not have to go through withdrawals.
Wow. Have you ever had somebody that a person that's first time trying to get off of drugs and they start going through a withdrawal and they're like, I can't do this?
or won't do this.
I won't do this because it's hard.
And they go right back because they don't want to experience that. It's a strong driver to these individuals to continue using. It's not the addiction; it's the physical, with effects of being on opioids for a long time. But that it is a motivator for them to continue the use and to seek out alternate treatments that they don't have to experience it.
Wow. So, okay, so you have some more information for me. So, some of this, can you put those in the comments this evening too? So, like some of the...
Before we leave here, I'll put it in the comment section. So, obviously, TTS is an outpatient clinic here in Wichita Falls, located at 207 Broad Street. We also have the Hope Center. It is 940-782-2043. They have a men's area and a women's area. They keep them separated. You can call them. They can help get you in and talk to you about pricing. The ranch at Dove Tree, they also have inpatient and do detox programs. The number is 877-979-5619, and that's the Ranch Dove Tree, and that's in Lubbock, Texas. I think that was the furthest one away. For adolescents, and I'm going to say this again, for adolescents, because a lot of the facilities here cannot treat minors. So for adolescents, it is the Phoenix House, 2345 Reagan Street in Dallas, Texas. The number is 214-999-1044. And I'm going to go ahead and say that one more time. For adolescent assistance, it's the Phoenix House at 2345 Reagan Street in Dallas, Texas. The number is 214-999-1044. And then we do have another inpatient center here in Wichita Falls. It's called the Recovery Center, and their number is 940-761-3034. You can call any of these places. They'll give you any information you need to try to get in somewhere, whether it's outpatient or inpatient, or if you just have questions for a loved one or a friend or yourself. You don't have to say who you are. Nobody needs to know if you're not ready for that step, but reach out. Spread the word, give the information. If you don't know the information, call and ask and we can give it to you. Help you find what to look for. But really, like, the whole point of this today is, like, talk to your kids, spread the information, and hopefully we'll be able to get some type of programs done in the schools so we can spread awareness about this, because it's horrible. It's horrible. It's
absolutely horrible. And I can just see the passion. Like, she's so passionate about this. And again, guys, this video, and I hope you guys share this, because we're all upset about it. We're all talking about it. I haven't ran into one person this week that I've had a conversation with that this has not came up. So, get the word out that there is help. I've got a preacher that I'll be talking to that, in fact, I'll get you his information. He's got a counselor, I believe, on staff that'll work with youth. They're wanting to put together a youth program to where the youth can go to that church and they can get assistance. So there's some things happening. But I think it takes everybody knowing, hey, this is there, and there are places like the clinic, to get this help. I didn't know about you guys until I knew about her. Like, until we had that conversation, I didn't know this clinic was here to help people. And we all know of people that have drug addictions. It's 2022. This is just a different world. So, guys, if you can do me a favor and share this video to your timeline, or, tag other people that have teenagers, really get this out there, because this is on the rise. The numbers alone, like you said, they went from like 200 to 864 young people that are dying. This is numbers of just dying. And even one is too many. You died from overdose. You're a kid. Come on now. The first time they take this drug. This is absolutely crazy. So I think that there needs to be more resources that are put out into your face. Like, hey, this is in Wichita Falls. This is in the community. There are people that are willing to get you the information to help you get your kid off of this. Like, regardless if you don't do kids at your clinic, you help adults. But a lot of times it runs in the family too.
Yeah.
You know,
there's places that we can refer you to get help.
There are places out there. So guys, I'm very honored and thankful to have you guys on the show with me this morning. And again, support local by giving this video a share. If you have any questions, I'm going to grab your phone. We're going to pull this video up real quick, see if there's a few questions. So, I'm going to read some of the feedback. We're going to click on here and let me see, turn the volume down. It always bothers me when I hear myself talking. So let's see what we've got here. The ranch tree at Dove and Lubbock is phenomenal. Sheila says that. Delynn says that is who the walk is for tomorrow at Lucy Park. So let's talk about that. Yes.
So September is National Recovery Awareness Month. So anybody who's celebrating recovery, working on their recovery, I can say from the bottom of my heart, I'm very proud of you. I have put together the first awareness 10K walk run. It's going to start at the big pavilion in Lucy Park. It's 6 miles. If y'all don't know what 10K is, I'm going to map it out later this evening when it cools off. It'll be flags to follow to get there and back. Normally there's always like some type of entry fee. We don't have a set fee this year because it's new. So we just ask that you give a donation. I'm going to have a huge bottle up there if you want to bring cash, or I'm going to have a QR code so people can donate. All the proceeds for the fundraiser this year are going to go to the recovery, or to Hope Center Ministries, to the women's facility of Hope Center Ministries that they have right outside of Wichita Falls, and then the other one in Purcell, Oklahoma. And I'm using them because my lifelong sister, best friend, I went through the thick of it with her, and she almost died, and thank God she's been sober 3 years now, and that was because she stuck it out at Hope Center Ministries, and they are amazing at what they do, and they do have a men and women's shelter right outside of Wichita. But it's a year-long commitment treatment program, so you have to be really committed for that one. But it's a good cause. So if you know somebody who's done recovery, or you're in recovery, or you're working on your recovery, and you want to come help celebrate them or yourself or whoever, please come out, walk, run with us. I promise you I'm not running anywhere. If you see me run, you better run too, but I will be walking it.
Definitely.
But please come join us. It's going to be an annual event,
and
it's
what time
going
is
to increase
it?
every year. It's going to start at 8, so I figure most people start showing up around between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, and I'll be there.
And what day is this?
Saturday morning.
Wow, okay.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. I know it creeps.
Tomorrow morning.
Do you lose track of days too?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what do I have going on today? Like, I'm serious. I actually have a comedy show. I'll be live at that tonight. I'm not the comic, even though I probably could be. But I'll be at a comedy show tonight. You can get tickets for that. You can get information off my show as well if you want to know more about that. That's going to be hosted in the mall at the event center. So there's a lot of cool stuff to do this weekend. If you're not familiar with my page, you're not following my page, be sure to like and follow, because there's some really cool things going on in the community. Things to help people, things to make people laugh. There's a lot of cool stuff. I just think that it's not always some things you just don't come across or see because there's so much information. The internet's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Very confusing.
Right? He's like, it's too much. It's crazy. I'm telling you. So it's really a blessing and an honor to have you guys on. I hope to kind of do another video with y'all maybe in a month or two. I will, again, this is not a sponsored video. It's not a paid for video. It's not, they're not trying to advertise to you and reel you in to come in and make money off you. This video is to help the community. This video is to really show that there are caring people. There's caring doctors still. I say that with the most respect, because
He's
Oh.
the best doctor in Wichita.
Oh.
I'll brag about Dr. Sauber all day long. He is
Oh.
the best doctor in Wichita Falls.
Can I go to you for regular care? What do you do? Like, do you? I mean,
I have multiple roles in this. In the
A man with many,
really?
many hats.
I've heard good things that you're a busy man. I'm like,
Sometime we'll talk about my multiple hot hats that I have.
oh, really? Y'all want to hit the hearts if you want to see this face again. We can talk about all kinds of topics, and maybe you can give me advice on taking better care of myself. Because I need to do that. I really, oh, heaven knows, I eat a lot. So I need a doctor in my life. But all right, so guys, I'm so excited to have you. Be looking forward for here in a bit to see some information pop up into the comments, some contact information. Thank you all for continuing to watch me and share the videos that I do. I appreciate it so much. Don't forget to hit like and follow. Last but not least, I have an upcoming event that I'm very excited about, and you're going to hear about it every time I'm on. But I have an event that I'm hosting right here in Big Blue. I'm going to fill the atrium up. We're going to have food vendors, DJ, performances. Santa Claus is coming if you want to see the big guy. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff. So, guys, I hope to get that going. And the deadline on that to pay for your vendor spot is October 15th. Can we donate online or any other way headed out of town this week? So if they want to donate to the cause, can they do that?
I'll post a QR code for that.
Perfect.
And
Do
that's
y'all have a
that's
page?
for the fundraiser.
Does the clinic have a page on Facebook, or because I know
There is.
There's
It says Texas Treatment Services of Wichita Falls, or it's Texas Treatment Services LLC. We have 7 sister companies in Texas. I think ours may pull up as Wichita Falls Treatment Services.
Perfect. So you can also find them on Facebook. You can ask them questions, or if you just, want to find out more about how you can help them get this out there, that's definitely a way to reach them. So guys, definitely just show your love, support. I know that, Delenn's husband also does a podcast talking about recovery. I forget the name of the podcast. Delenn, if you're still watching, Jack has, I think it's called The Road to Recovery. And he talks a little bit about the things that he went through or different things. So there's a lot of different things out there. And, like Geneva was saying, a friend of mine, get your kids active. She's saying this is really to reach this video is because of what's going on with our kids.
Yeah.
Get your kids active. Get them busy. Get them in an environment where they're a little more monitored, or, have those conversations with them like I did at dinner the other day. I pull up the news story and I'm like, look at this kid. He's a baby. Like, look what his mom was just bawling, and I'm like, I don't want to be that mom. So have these conversations.
And I just remembered too, Sober Living, they did, I think last week, Dr. Tauber was on the news with them. They were giving out
Awesome.
Narcan, Dr. Tauber?
Narcan training for rescue treatment.
Right. And they're supposed to be doing it again. So if you want Narcan, I think I read that they were going to pass it out again. You can always call Sober Living, and I think her name was Jamie, and ask her about that. And Dr. Tauber can tell you real quick what Narcan does for anybody who's overdosed on an opiate or fentanyl.
Yeah.
Well, Narcan is what we call an antagonist. It'll kick off the fentanyl and every other opioid from the receptors, and most importantly, it'll prevent someone from having to stop breathing. So you're able
It's
to rescue.
really good to have on hand.
So it's
That's
almost
good.
like in the movies when they stab you with something
It's a magic bullet. Yeah, I mean it's one of the few things in medicine. That
wow.
we have. Now it puts them into a god awful withdrawal, but at least they're alive. And I think it's useful to be trained in using it. It's a nose application, and carry it in your car. If you come upon someone who is unconscious, it's one of the first things we do as medical personnel to try to rescue people.
Yeah, even the dollar thing. Okay, one last thing. Guys, if you see $1 on the ground, this stuff is kind of sinister too. People there are people that like to kill a lot of people. They get a high off of killing people. And I noticed that like a year or two ago, I remember hearing about, that's the first time I heard about fentanyl, was that it was put in $1 and they're folded up and kids or people were picking the dollar up and then they were dying. When I was in South Padre Island, I was at a touristy area, obviously, because that's what we're there for. I saw $1 on the ground, and I remember that, and I was like, no, like, I'm not picking that up, and it just kind of, but we have to be more aware. This stuff is sinister, so there are treatments out there. There are get knowledgeable, because I hate to say it, but every year things just get worse. And if you're not knowledgeable and you don't know these things exist, you might be surprised to find your loved one in this situation. It'd be better to have that on hand.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important, and I'm glad we have a resource in this community that can provide that and the training to properly use it.
Yeah.
Wow.
think it was
I need you to
really
put their
good.
information in the comment. You're going to be a busy woman commenting on all this.
It's okay. I took the
Yes.
day off today.
Well, guys, I know you took the day off to be on the show about this. That is passion. All right. Well, thank you so much. Love you to be. Let me give you a hug. I know. Let's hug. Let's hug it out. I'll hug you too, doctor. He's like, oh gosh, I'm getting a go-to girl hug. I know. I'm like a hugger. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Share this video, support local, and stay tuned for more great stuff from the Go-To Girl. Smooches.